Happy Love Day, everybody. Let's have a tarot party. I'm all dressed up from the waist up, waist down. It sweats all the way. What I want to do is, I've done this with Marianne before, Marianne DeMarco, who I go live with sometimes, is we'll just pull a name out of the chat, seeing people who've joined. So I'll do that. But first, let's talk about love and tarot, okay? I just want to give you a brief little, like a little PSA about the love cards and tarot. So first of all, we have, hey Cindy, ooh, I'm seeing all these names and just be like, hey Denise, yay. First we have the lovers, sexy times, naked people. My kids when they were little would just be like, burn that card. But this is like more than friends. So this is what it is, you know? The lovers is a romantic relationship. Now, when it shows up for people and they're not in a romantic relationship, often other cards will, because I would never just like pull this and that's it, but I would pull another card for clarification, and it would usually, depending on if you're in a relationship or not, it will give context of, you know, what you need to know about your relationship, or it could be, if you're not in a relationship romantically, what you need to be working on or looking at, healing, to be able to get yourself in a position energetically to attract that kind of thing into your life, if that's what you're even wanting. You know, or it could be reframing past relationships. It can be all sorts of stuff. So that's the levels with the, in terms of the tarot of it all. And then we have a card that when people see this, they pee themselves a little bit, especially if they're asking about romance. But I'm going to show you how the cards, like there's the Tarot 101, and there are often multiple interpretations even within the sort of Tarot 101 of it all, of a card. And then also showing how the dialogue with your deck develops over time, and a meaning can be something that's just between you and your deck. So we have the Three of Swords, and the Three of Swords, no one's enjoying that. That doesn't look fun, right? Because this is emotional fragility. It is heartache. It can be grief. It is just things that, you know, normal. Well, here's the thing, before I get into my interpretation that's evolved over, 30 plus years of doing tarot, this often, the Tarot 101 is, can be, a love triangle. There are three swords in that heart. It can be, an unsanctioned throuple, if you will. It could be, like an extra person in the relationship who's not supposed to be there. So, people often will see this card if they know a little bit about tarot. They'll be like, oh, infidelity, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I always say, and this is something that Erica, my tarot mentor, the witch, told me years ago when we were first, when she was mentoring me like 30 plus years ago, you would never say to someone like, ooh, like, what's going on? Like, do you know where your partner is right now? That it's like leading the witness. You know what I mean? That's just irresponsible tarot card reading. Now, if someone were to say, what do I need to know about, my partner stepping out on me, or my partner, or, my ex-boyfriend, what he's thinking, blah, 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 and this card came up, then we could maybe like go down that path a little bit. But what I tell people with this card, even if they're asking about relationships, I will always give them the little preface that this looks worse than, it looks really scary, but it's emotional fragility and the heartache. And as I said before, it can be grief that has nothing to do with romance, right? But this is things that this was COVID for everyone, where things that normally would roll off your back, no big deal, instead stick, until you just say, I can't do it anymore. And you need a bath and a drink and a cry, and you come back going, I'm fine, I'm okay. But like, you're not okay, and this card, when it shows up, is saying this isn't big deal stuff you can't handle. And it is not forever, but it can feel like forever when you're in it. It feels like a rain cloud just splooshing down on you. And in the when you're under it, it feels like a tsunami. And this card is telling you that the rain cloud will eventually dissipate on its own, or more often than not, you look up and go, oh God, it's just a rain cloud, and you just kind of leave it behind. So to just watch as you're navigating whatever this is, because this isn't nothing. This card is saying, as you're navigating whatever this is, to just watch that you're not mistaking rain clouds for tsunamis. So do you see how that card is more than just what you would find on like a Tarot 101 or a Google or in the little book that comes with it? Sort of shows how the meaning can be a lot deeper and a lot more nuanced. And if you were to get this card with this card, it could be like, ooh, that's not looking great, you know, for the romance of it all. But it could also be, let's say, you know, there's grief around what's going on in the world, or someone who passed or whatever, and how it can be affecting this relationship, you know, and to keep this in mind so that it doesn't impact this in a way that is unnecessarily arduous or harsh. So you see how they work together? For those of you just joining, I'm not pulling cards yet. I'm just going over sort of like some major love cards in tarot to just kind of give you perspective on them and to show you how it's not necessarily like nothing drives me nuts more than the tarot talk of it all. I'm not even on TikTok because it kind of scares me. But when you see the people like, okay, mama, I have a reading for you. I have a message for you. Da, da. Oh, here's what he's saying. He's saying this. And you know what you need to be doing because he's doing that and blah, blah, blah. That is some nonsense. Like, I'm just putting that straight out there. So just to give you a sense of what these cards mean. And then we're going to pull cards soon. Don't worry about it. We'll get to it. Then we have the Two of Cups. Now, this Tarot 101 is soulmate connection. And it looks like traditional man and wife there. And it can be romantic. Obviously, it can be, you know, same sex. It can also be, though, mother and child, good friends, colleagues. For me, you know, people where you have a soul connection. Because when you have the Ace of Cups, which is oh yeah, shoot, I should have pulled the Ace of Cups, whatever. Ace of Cups, when it's the number one, you know, it's the first card in the cups, and cups are all about love and emotions, and the ace, it hasn't been divided or split off. So the Ace of Cups is the strongest of all the cups cards. It's just like true love. It can be romantic. It can also be in those other forms, but then it splits in two, you know, and it's shared equally between the two people, whoever those two people are, whoever this person is as this person relates to you, you know, whether it's a child or a lover or a friend or a teacher or whatever. And that beautiful shared, like equanimity, you know, there's a beautiful, there's like a balance of the love between the two people. Like it's not, you know, narcissists and stuff. So that's really nice. Now, that's great. And sometimes when you get this showing up in a reading, I'll tell people, like, it could absolutely be the Tarot 101 of it all. But here's the thing. It can also, because for me, this card means it's asking you to rethink the role of the soulmate. Because when I talk about soulmate connections of any kind, but especially romantic, and here's something we all just need to hear today, whether you're in a relationship or not, like romantically. When two souls are brought together, you know, it's not schmoopy rom-com champagne and roses garbage. And again, I'm talking romance all, but especially romance. These souls are being brought together because you have work to do. You know, you are here to be the teacher, the student, the guide, the mirror, the lesson, and that is very essential and meaningful and intimate and sometimes difficult work. And some of our worst enemies can be our soulmates. You know, that's where some of the juiciest growth comes from. So do you see how it can be almost like relieving? There's an unburdening when you realize, oh, class was in session. Like that's what that was all about. You know, whether it's current or past or future relationships, you know, class was in session. And sometimes it's a community college course that meets once a week. And sometimes it's a triple PhD. But there's a reason and a season for these souls being brought together, whether it's 20 minutes or 20 years. And sometimes we know what that reason is right after it happens. Sometimes it takes a bit, but there's usually a perspective down the road where you look back and say, okay, I get what that was about. I get what that was, you know, and we always want to know in advance rather than retrospect, and it doesn't work that way. That's not how it goes. So do you see how this can be, you know, my reading's always very forward facing, but this is one of the few cards that can actually help you reframe the past so that you can recalibrate and move forward a little less burdened. Got it? So it's more than meets the eye, right? And this is, again, this is something that's evolved with me for this card over like 35 years of working with this deck. And you don't have to work with cards for like decades to be able to establish your own meanings. It's something that, you know, it can be fast tracked, but I was doing this in like cart and buggy Amish days before there was like internet or anything. So, and I was also like having babies and, you know, having to pay the bills and blah, blah, blah. So this is something that I've honed and worked with over the years. because, you know, it was the Taurus in me, slow like a bull. But now I'm in my Sag era. So yeah, those are some banger love cards for today. And I just wanted to give you that little bit of tarot wisdom before we start pulling cards. Now let's start pulling cards. And I always give the cards a nice little knock before I do a reading of any kind, just to, it's like an energetic palette cleanser. It just sort of knocks the energy of the last reading out, even if it's just card of the day that I was pulling a card for. I always give a knock before every reading. Whoops, again, that's something I was taught by my mentor, Erica, who, if you've been around for a bit, know is the witch who mentored me on tarot. And she did it, again, way before the internet, so it was literally me kind of like at her knee, pen and paper in hand, just taking notes, going through every card, asking questions, and it was very, in retrospect now, I'm like, God damn, that was super witchy, and that was super, it's really traditional. It was this beautiful way of passing on that wisdom, you know. It was really, yeah, really special. And I don't think we get a lot of that anymore. Oh, P.S., but you will be getting that. Anyone wants to do the tarot intensive, I still have, the spots are half gone. There are only 12 spots, and we're going to be doing, like, really getting into it, working to get the meaning of the cards and how to put the cards together to give readings. You know, it's because people are reading the card, reading the book, reading the card, reading the book, and they're like, okay, and now what? You know, and how do I put the cards together? That's the kind of thing we're going to be getting in and like in the nitty gritty practicing, and you'll be reading me, I'll be reading you. It'll be very exciting. Anyway, if you want info, DM me. Okay, who wants a card? I'm assuming everyone on here would like a card. Monica, I see you. And you said, I'd love a card, and you also knock your deck. Nice. Okay, I'm going to stare at your little avatar dealio. Whoops. Oh, okay, that was a jumper. Often when, if one card jumps out, if a bunch of cards jump out, it's sometimes me just being lazy. But if one just like pops out, sometimes it's like, yeah, that's what it is. Okay, what does Monica need to know right now? All right, so Monica, you're getting two. First, we have the King of Cups, and you'll see why I pulled another card. Oh, and again, this is hilarious because this is like a perfect example of why we are doing the Tarot Intensive, to do this kind of very small group mentoring of how these cards work. But here's an example in real time. You're seeing it. This was the card that jumped out, okay? And the King of Cups is, he's the king of emotion and intuition and creativity. And it's not about gender with these readings. Y'all can have king or queen energy. It's more about attributes and characteristics, okay? And the King of Cups, I envision him like under a willow tree, sketch pad on his knee, just like drawing in full creative flow. And it doesn't mean go paint a picture, you know, sculpt something, because there are lawyers or plumbers who are very passionate and creative in how they do their work. But it's being in that flow state. Okay, so now this could also be a dude. And I'll tell you, when the queens show up, y'all know, I could talk about queens all day. They have very distinct personalities. When a king shows up, it's often like, I don't know, it's a fella, put a pin in him, we'll figure it out. Maybe not, who cares? You know, he tends to be context and seasoning. Like, I don't want you to worry so much about putting a name to this person, but I mean, we are doing a Valentine's Day party. So Monica, if you're looking for this kind of energy to come into your life, it's like, oh, you want that? You like that? Or you want to be him? You want to embody his energy? Here's the work. Or like, don't screw it up. And that's why tarot loves, for me, giving homework. It's not just like, okay, here's this message, like, good luck. It's more, okay, what about him? You know, whether this king is you or someone else or both. It's definitely you, but it could also be like, dude, you, regarding this card, need to know this. Now, the 10 of Cups, here's another example of the, God, these cards are really like working for me to show you how they work together. Because the 10 of Cups Tarot 101, the thing you could Google and see, it's the 2.5 kids in the minivan, little rainbow of love, la 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 la. So it could be like, oh, here's this guy and here's this beautiful family, you know, like happy little nuclear family. And if I was just, you know, like a fortune teller psychic in the back alley, I'd be like, oh my God, he's coming and you're going to have babies and oh my God, it's fabulous and blah, blah. And I'd probably be like, oh, and there'll be $1,500 to release the curse that someone put on you, you know, that kind of nonsense. Here's what it is for me, for you. So whether it's this guy is you or the guy or both, this card for me is about connections, because family comes in many forms, and it is reminding you the depth and breadth of connections in your life. They are like redwood forest roots, and they can lift us up when we're feeling wobbly and unsteady. So don't hesitate to lean on those connections. Ask for help, a shoulder to cry on, a second opinion. We're not meant to do it alone, so don't bother, you know? And think about how good it feels if someone were to be like, Monica, I need you. You're like, oh my God, I'll be right there. Because it feels great to help other people. I got goosies. Give other people that gift. Let them be that for you. You know, it makes everyone feel good. And don't hesitate to leverage the connections. Who knows someone who knows whatever, because your network is more vast and expansive than you realize. So do you see how by leaning and leveraging those connections in your life is how you A, step into that energy, or B, attract this kind of energy, like dude-wise. Also, just keep in mind, when we are most needing to do this, when we're most needing this is usually when we're least likely to do it, right? So keep that in mind as well. So boom, boom, 2 cards. Okay, and for those of you just joining, we're having a little tarot party and I'm just pulling cards for people. You make the cards make more sense. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That is my mission with what I do, whether it's books I write or the tarot intensive or card of the day. That's my goal. Inspire, empower, and enlighten through tarot, rituals, whatever it is, whatever my work is that I'm doing. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go back a little bit. Integrated Healing Strathroy. I'm pulling a card for you. And then Elizabeth, I'm going to pull one for you too. Elizabeth Rowe. Okay. Integrated Healing Strathroy. Just Integrated Healing Strathroy I need to know right now. Oh my God. Okay, now the cards are kind of just like showing off. What the hell? Because here's where, and this is kind of, well, again, this could go a few ways. Girl, you're getting 3 cards, or Integrated Healing Strathroy. I'm saying girl, but I don't know. I'm not that kind of psychic. But I feel there's more ladies than gents on this call. First, I've pulled the Queen of Cups. She's the Queen of Hearts, Queen of Emotions, like the King of Cups, right? But here's the thing. When she's in her power, she is emotionally regulated and intuitive and creative. When she is not drinking her water and breathing and doing all the work she needs to be doing, she's a hot mess, you know? Instead of being like, even Steven, everything's great. She's really happy, really sad, really confused, really depressed, really this, really that. Blah. She's very like, really, everything's very intense, and everything's led from that heart place. There's not so much balance with, you know, head and gut. So this is you, okay? And then we want to be, and we need to feel our feelings. Like we're not denying that we need to feel our feelings, but she's just feeling all the things really intensely, which makes sense with the world today. And then we want to be more embodying this. Like when she's in her power, great, but like this is the highest of all, not highest of all, but like the best version of you, living the best version of your life. Because the Queen of Wands are about passion, purpose, potential. She's the queen of it. Her vibe is like, hi, I'm here, you're welcome. You know, and when this card shows up, it's saying you're doing it and keep going, because you're not there yet. And we never get there, it's ever evolving. So you want to embody this energy. This can get in the way. And here's why it's getting in the way is the 3rd card. Because I pulled 2 queens and it's like, okay, I pulled this one. And it's like, okay, what about her? I pulled another one. It's like, okay, what about her? And then we get this card. And this is how they tie all together. I love that we're getting multiple cards. Usually it's just one card. Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords is Cuckoo Banana's chaotic energy. He's just like, oh, you know, the Tasmanian devil energy. It's like trying to get on a log in the water and you're like, whoa, and one nostril above the water line. And that is unnerving and off-putting, to not know what's around the corner, to not feel like you have a handle on things as you normally would. And even though this is Cuckoo Banana's energy, I find this a weirdly reassuring card, because it's telling you, like usually the cards will be like, here's a lesson and here's a perspective. And this card is just going, right? What a gong show. Like, yeah, what are you going to do? It is what it is. The good news is, again, it's not forever, even though it feels like it when you're in it, and you can handle it even if you don't think you can. So it's not saying it's nothing. It's saying like, don't let this get in the way of you like living your life, but also cut yourself some slack, show yourself a little grace that you are navigating life amidst this cuckoo bananas energy, whether it's with work or your relationships, your family, the world, or a combination. So do you see how the key to transitioning from this when she's disempowered into more this is to remember that. So do you see how those 3 cards work together? Right? So cool. Anyway, okay. I hope that resonated. And now I'm going to pull one for Elizabeth, and then I'll scroll down and get some more of you in here. But Elizabeth Rowe, here we go. Oh, little rhyme. Okay. What does Elizabeth need to know right now? And I always keep questions open-ended because there isn't a yes card or a no card or a Wednesday card in this deck, so, or in any tarot deck. So you just keep it. I find the more open-ended the questions are, the more specific the answers can be. And I'll tell you what, you're getting a very specific answer. You're getting a little kick in the ass, Elizabeth, because this guy has all these cups before him, and even like poof, something being offered magically, and the look on his face, 4 of cups, he's just like, whatever, I'm worried about this, I gotta do this, I'm distracted, blah, blah, blah. This card, 4 of cups, is asking for presence. It's asking for you to be grounded in now, to not be marinating in the past, focusing on regrets. Don't be living in a future that hasn't happened yet. That's anxiety. Be in the moment, and avoid the grass is greener thinking or the if-then thinking, because if 10 years down the road, he could still be like, one day, just daydreaming his life away. Be present. And it's one of 2 cards in the deck I call a cranky grandpa card, because it's, for me, an old man voice in my head, kind of like a Clint Eastwood type, going, kid, what are you doing? Stop farting around. Come on. So you're getting that kick in the ass from yourself to yourself. For me, this is distracting. Like, oh, what's happening on Instagram 3 hours later? Oh, well, I guess I'll do the thing tomorrow because now it's time for bed. It's that kind of stuff. So just watch that. Got it? And, this is numbing. It's scrolling. It's all the things. Oh, my God. It's so many comments. Okay. Hey, Care Kent 67. Let's do it. Okay. Fun. I love this, guys. This is so fun. All right. Or Care Kent 67. What do you need to know right now? Ooh, day went sideways, but I'll tell you what, you are getting one of my top 3 cards. I freaking love getting this card. This is also the most misunderstood card in the deck. Everyone pees themselves when they get it, because you got the Death card. And when you get the Death card, it is never physical death. No animals, no plants, no people, nothing is dying. That you can Google across the board. It's only in like dummy popular culture, like the movies and stuff, where the fortune teller's like, oh, death, say goodbye to grandma. Like, that's never what this is. This is about transformational change. It's change that is good and positive and necessary, and that's the sun in the distance there, right? That's validating that this is good change. What makes this card ominous and yucky and gross is your relationship with change. So if you're embracing it like, okay, let's do this, I'm ready, it can be amazing start to finish. If you're resisting change and you're like, too hard, scary, I don't want to do it, then it can kind of suck. Even though the end result is amazing, the process is so much more difficult than it needs to be. So the Death card is asking you to embrace change despite the inherent discomfort that comes from any kind of change, because it's telling you there's a Band-Aid coming off. There's something better under there. So are you going to go and you don't even feel it? Or will you be like a little kid just going, ow, 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 feeling every little hair? How you experience this card is very much up to you. Got it? Mm-hmm. Let's see who else wants a card pulled. I'll also... I'll put this recording in my main feed, and I'll put it on YouTube after as well, if you want to revisit it. And before we're done tonight, I'll for sure pull a card for the collective. So even if I don't do, oh, I didn't send you any kind of friend request, Witchy Ways 111. I didn't do that. Even if you didn't get a personal message, I'll pull a card for the group, okay? Towards the end here. Okay, Jody Graydon writes, let's pull a card. What does Jody Graydon Wrights need to know right now? Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. All right. Again, 2 cards. This is so funny because I was wanting to talk about how, because this is what we'll be doing in the tarot intensive, how I know, because for me for so long it was like, you know what one card means, but like, how do you put them together? Or what is this card on its own is giving me nothing, so what do I do with it? Well, you pull another card and then you work them together. That's the kind of thing we're working on, and this is like seeing it in real time is very cool. Okay, so first up, and it's interesting because here's an example too. I pulled this card first, but I'm going to tell you about this one first because of how I want to present it as kind of like a story that it's just how it wants to be told. It's kind of how I can explain it in this. I'll be explaining this kind of thing in detail with the tarot intensive, but for our purposes now, we're getting the shorthand. Getting to the message. 6 of Swords. Do you see how she's going from the rough water to the smooth? It's telling you where things have been rocky and rough and tumultuous, it's going to be more smooth sailing. And all the swords, when they're hanging around like that, is fear, worry, doubt, anxiety, 3 a.m, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, associated with the rough water. It's going to ease off as well. So that's gorgeous. And tarot, as I said earlier, loves to say, oh, do you like that? Do you want that? Here's the work, or don't mess it up. So to help you facilitate this with as much speed, grace, ease as possible, make sure you're not like paddling backwards. You need to understand this card. And we have the Queen of Swords. And again, for me, in my readings, kings and queens always represent real people. So this is you or someone else. I mean, this could be someone who is a part of the rough or smooth waters. Even if it is that, this is definitely you as well. Okay, Jody Graydon writes. Because this queen, the other queens are forward facing and they're like, hi, look at me, here I am. And this queen, she's off to the side, her sword is up. She's just like, the way you eat that sandwich, I'm gonna punch you in the face, you know? And I resonate with this queen. I love this queen because she's not a bitch, but she can be bitchy and it is not unwarranted. Her vibe is very much like, seriously, that's your answer? Are you kidding me? You know, she does not have time for shenanigans and dinglings because she's got shit to do. And she gets things done. She has a fantastic work ethic, a really strong business acumen. She has a spine of steel, not rigid, but energetic steel. And sometimes we need more of that. Sometimes we need to step into that energy to help smooth those waters, right? On the other end of the spectrum, though, she can be rigid and clenchy, kind of like Edward Scissorhands in a balloon store, just like pop, 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 pop. So it's needing to walk that line, navigate those waters between being, having that energetic spine of steel, getting things done, and balloon murderer. You know, you want to step into her strengths and mitigate her more challenging aspects, because do you see how if you're super rigid and clenchy, it's like paddling backwards. And sometimes we need to step into that, put it on the big girl undies and do the hard thing to help smooth those waters. So, you know, it could be either or it could be an and both to help you with that. Got it? Makes sense? Hopefully? Nice. Okay, let's do it. How about Wendy Mac? Let's do it. Okay, Wendy. What does Wendy need to know right now? God damn, we're getting all kings and queens. All right, so here we go. We have a king. Wendy, this is not you. This feels like a dude, whether it's a boss, a father, a son, a partner, an ex, whatever. We're not going to worry too much, as I said earlier, about putting a name to him. It's usually you look back after and you're like, oh, it was Fred from accounting. I get it now. He's more of a context clue than anything else, although I think you'll know who it is when we see this next card, because obviously when you have a king or a queen, it's like, okay, what about them? You know, like let's give him, like this is telling, I mean, we have some attributes, but what do we need to know? So then we pull another card. And this card, again, is going to look a bit like, ooh, scary, but it offers a beautiful reframe. And here's where the Tarot 101, and when you're just reading from a book or Googling except for my book, Big Deck Energy, because it goes beyond that. But if you're looking at the little book that comes with your deck or you're just Googling, this card can just be like, oh, that sucks. Oh, this guy's making you feel this way. But for me, it offers you a beautiful reframe as well, because this card's message has evolved. The 9 of Swords. I mean, it's not looking great, guys, right? Because she's just, in the middle of the night, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? It's the worst. And it's stress and worry and anxiety. And again, the 3 a.m, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, lying in bed. And Tarot 101 is like, you're feeling this about this guy. And yikes, like, okay, and what else? You know, like that's not great. Here's what how this card has evolved for me is, you know, it's reminding you to not make mountains out of molehills, to watch you're not making things like 90% bigger in your head than they really are. This is the 3 a.m. spiral we all get in from time to time. When the swords are just hanging around, they're not like in the guy, that's when you know it's usually up here stuff. See, this is an example of how you get the visual cues to help you understand the meaning of the story. Because P.S., what number is this? 9 of Swords. If you asked me 9 of Swords like 5 minutes ago, I couldn't have told you which one it is. I don't have the numbers or whatever memorized. But when I see this, it's like, obviously, let's talk about it. So, the 9 of Swords, when you see the swords just hanging around, it tends to be more mental, emotional stuff. And I always tell people, no matter who I'm reading, and I read some high-profile people, I will always say the underlying message behind this card is get your head out of your ass, which is difficult to do when you're in the eye of your storm, because your storm is your storm. And this card is not minimizing your storm. It's reminding you the things that keep us up, stressed and worrying and freaking out at 3 in the morning, rarely feel as dire or as scary at 3 in the afternoon. So do you see how this message, as it pertains to this person, like he's sort of the least important, not sort of, he is the least important part of this 2-card reading, right? That's the key message you need to understand and remember. Got it? Okay, yay. All right, let's scroll down, scrolly. Okay. Jen K, Keay, you're getting a card. Jen K. Okay. I'm saying K, it could be key, but Jennkeay. I'm pulling a card for you. I'm just going to say Jen. What does Jen need to know right now? Ooh, the star. So here's one that absolutely says plenty on its own, okay? And this is a really good example. If you were here at the beginning when I was talking about how the cards, I was talking about that 2 of Cups, and I'll always tell people my readings are always very forward facing, but this is one of the few cards that can actually help you reframe the past, just like the 2 of Cups is as well, so you can sort of recalibrate and move forward less burdened, okay? And that's another example of how these cards, the dialogue I have going with my deck is, you know, there are certain cards that can be past, present, and future more than sort of that future facing. And there's going to be some overlap with the 2 of Cups a little bit. And I tell people as well that, especially when you're doing readings with multiple cards, each of these 78 cards has its own story to tell, but some of them share threads or through lines. So when I sound repetitive or thematic or like a broken record, it's like the cards are going, did you hear it? Are you listening? Do you get it? So just kind of keep that in mind if you ever, like if you pull cards and that's something that happens. So let's get into it. The star. For me, the star is one of the luckiest cards in the deck. That's another thing that's evolved over time. Wheel of Fortune, the star, the world, the sun, those are all lucky cards for me. And it's not just handing over all the luck. When those cards show up, they're saying, here's a lesson that you need to learn to help you like harness the luck and really work with it. And the lesson of the star, it's all about the role that destiny plays in our lives and how the good and the bad and the ugly are all part of your path. And certain people, opportunities, experiences show up for a reason and a season. You know, whether it's 20 minutes or 20 years, people showing up to be the teacher, the student, the guide, the mirror, the lesson, opportunities presenting themselves, that's your destiny. And then what you choose to do with it, because you have free will, is up to you. So you can dance with it, ignore it, kick its ass, let it kick your ass, learn from it. But don't get too caught up in trying to figure out what's the meaning, what's the purpose, what's the message of the. Instead, just grab that lucky stardust, shove it in your pocket, hit the road and go do your thing. And there's usually a perspective down the road where you can look back and say, okay, I get why that happened. Like that makes sense, you know, and we always want to know in advance rather than in hindsight, and that's not how it goes. And I'm also going to go a little deeper to show, and this isn't something that happens with every reading I do, but I'm feeling it for you, Jen, and also in readings sometimes I do this. This is how it's evolved. Even this has been just like the last, I don't know, probably since COVID that this meaning has come up as well, is the star wants you to remember we're born alone and we die alone. But from the moment we're born to the moment we pass, it's like our souls join hands with other souls, you know, whether it's parents, partners, teachers, lovers. And we often walk side by side, hand in hand, start to finish. And sometimes it's twists and turns and oopsie daisies, but you figure it out in the end. And every so often you go apart and then find each other further along the path. But more often than not, it's like, you know what, our work here's done. I'll catch you on the flip side. And what the star wants you to remember is that the path you're on is a singular path. We are all on an individual path. We can't be pulling people along their path or yanking them onto our path, even when it's obvious we know better, because it messes with their karma. And this is something I can still learning, especially with my kids, is that even when it comes from a very loving and protective place, it can prolong or enlarge the lessons that other people need to learn when we try to carry the burdens that are not ours to bear. Yeah. All we can do is have a handout to say, hey, I'm here if you want to walk alongside me on our respective paths, but I can't pull you along your path. I can't yank you onto my path, and I will not wait. And do you see how understanding that message, that idea, we can't be living everyone's lives for them, and the role of destiny and our free will, when we have a deep understanding of those things, that's what helps you access some luck that's available with this card. Got it? See how this one's like a banger on its own? It does not need additional info. Holy crap, I'm missing all these comments. Let's see. And here's the thing too, yeah, anyone who has big deck energy, and you can get it at the library too, especially if you're in Canada. I love a library, and I always put holds on my books at the libraries because I just like them to know they're in demand. And usually every time there's like a wait list, which makes me feel really good. But please get the book at the library, or you can order it. But here's the thing with Big Deck Energy is that you can just take, there's just one chunk of it really is the meanings. The rest of it is all the different stuff about tarot, like the history and different uses of it and blah, blah, blah. But you can take the pages and you can just say, okay, what do I need to know right now? Boom. And then, oh, okay, here's my message. So you can give yourself readings. You don't even need a deck, really, if you have the book, which is kind of cool. But tonight we have the book and the deck, so let's do it. All right. Blah, 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 blah. Blondie 75, 3 a.m. What the hell time is it? Where are you? Is this, what's going on? Oh, 3 a.m. You're talking about the 9 of Swords. I was thinking about wait, where are you located that is 3 a.m? Must be in Bali. But hey, Blondie 75, I'm pulling a card for you. Let's see. I too am awake often at 3 a.m. But I'll tell you what, there are a lot of things you can do to help. Keep pen and paper by your bed and just barf your brain out on the page before bed. When you wake up, if you wake up in the night, just whatever's on your mind, put it on the page. That often is enough. But in the meantime, Blondie 75, what do you need to know right now? Ooh, Ace of Wands. Again, when you have an ace, number 1, strongest of the suit. This is such a good card. Oh my God, to get with the year of the horse starting next Tuesday. Ooh, yeah, because the Ace of Wands are about passion, purpose, potential. This is the strongest of that suit. The Ace of Wands is saying, it's like this card is taking the big book of you, opening to a new chapter and a blank page and asking, what are you going to write here? And having all these opportunities to bring things into your life that make your heart and soul sing. And remember, what makes your heart and soul sing and what pays your bills, they can be different things, especially if one's facilitating the other. But it's very much about new directions, new chapters, new beginnings, fresh starts. And with everything happening, Saturn and Neptune doing stuff in Aries and the year of the horse starting, like having this energy propelling you, juicy, juicy, juicy. Make the most of it. Okay. The Medsa, Medsa, the Medsa. I'm pulling you a card. Let's see. Okay, what does the Medsa need to know right now? All right. So again, 2 cards, and we're going to see why we needed to pull 2 cards. It's like little tarot lessons happening. I love this. The Hierophant is one of, this card for me is a bit of a snooze, okay? It can be about exciting things, though, because it's a lot of documenting and signing and writing. It could be signing a contract, a bill of sale, an offer. It could be doing a business plan or writing a book. It could be applying for something, taking tests, marking tests. It's just a lot of writing or signing. Like if you didn't have a computer, you get carpal tunnel from all the writing, or the kind of thing where you sign your name and it's contractual and binding. So it's that, like, what about it? So we needed another card. And then this one leaves no, this is like exclamation point, especially when it comes to this is a part of this. You have the Magician, okay? And the Magician he's the master manifester. He has infinite power overhead, and he's going, I'm the Magician, I can do anything, and he has all the tools before him. See, this is an example of how the story, the message is in the image, which is why I don't usually recommend people get a tarot deck that's like the Cats of Tarot, or, you know, tarot dragons. If you want, you can, but just be mindful of like the symbolism, because if it's kitschy and it's the person who created the deck doesn't necessarily have a really in-depth knowledge of tarot. They just like tarot and wanted to put their theme to it, which is, you know, great, power to you. But that kind of thing can often be more like for display than really working with it, because you can miss some of the nuance of it. For instance, he's got all those tools. He has infinite power. He's going, I'm the Magician, I can do anything. And it's telling you, okay, that's great. You've got what it takes to create the life you want, but you've got to like get off your ass and do something with it. Because if 10 years later he's still sitting there going, I'm a magician, I can do anything, and he hasn't picked up the tools, a waste of magic. So it's all about manifesting. But you all know how I feel about, it's not the ding dongs in front of their vision board that are just like, when am I getting married? It's not fairy godmother, you know, wish upon a star stuff. This is saying the key to manifesting is to get really clear on your intention and do a vision board or journal or daydream, do all the things. Follow up that clarity of intention with some inspired action, little baby steps to get the ball rolling, and then forget the path. Don't worry about when or how. That's not our business. Focus on what and why. Don't try and plan and plot and visualize every single step, because it discounts the magic. Instead, you want to say, okay, God, Buddha, universe, all the stuff. Here's what I want. Here's what I'm doing. How are you going to help? What have you got for me? And be open to seeing stepping stones, synchronicities, clues that get you there or somewhere better. And if you can step into that kind of energy, intention, inspired action, and then step back and let life respond, that's how you make the most of this magician energy. And this is a part of it. All right. And, you know, people often get a reading because they want to be told, like, you know, what's my path? What's my purpose? I'll work hard. I'll do whatever it takes. I just need to know what it is. And they're looking for a plan. They're looking for a blueprint. And the magician is reminding you, there's never going to be a blueprint. There never was. There never will be. But there will be breadcrumbs. So make sure you're looking for breadcrumbs over blueprints. Yeah. And then that's a part of that. Well, that was juicy as hell. All right, everyone. Let's go. I'm going to scroll down a little bit and get caught up with everyone here. Hey, if you all have read my books, or even if you haven't and you want to do me a solid, could you go on like Goodreads or Amazon or Indigo, wherever you get your books, and leave a review for Big Deck Energy and or Burn Your Shit? It really, really helps. I would so appreciate it. Or a Google review if you really want to take it next level and get some serious good karma coming your way. Google reviews are fantastic as well. Unless it's not a 5-star, then just keep scrolling, guys, because I got 5-star reviews across the board, and I like keeping it that way. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go down a little bit. La 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 la. Hey, Carm 222. Let's do it. Carm 222. What does Carm 222 need to know right now? Oh, this is nice. And this is an example of a card that has a very clear, specific message. It's short and sweet and super powerful, and it often shows up when we really need it most. The Strength card. This is the strongest card of the entire deck, and it is reminding you, again, with the sign of infinity. This card, the Magician, the 2 cards with the infinity sign overhead, the infinite power to manifest and the infinite strength, reminding you, you can go to the well of strength as often as you need to. It is limitless for you, and it has been called upon for sure, but you have it in spades, so don't sweat it or forget it. You know, where other people would say, it's hard and I can't, and you're going, suck it up, buttercup. Come on, we got to do this. And sometimes we need a reminder that we have that strength. So there's your reminder in a silver platter. Karm 222. Got it? Good. Okay. Let's keep on scrolling and let's see what's up. How about... Oh, yay! Gail, Sawchuck, got big deck energy. Congrats, finally makes sense after years of trying to understand what the cards are saying. Huzzah! I love to hear that. And here's the thing, this tarot intensive I'm doing, it's an investment. It's like a few $1,000s, but you are also getting that one-on-one, pretty much one-on-one, because it's such a small container, mentorship with me, and you're getting, invitations. I don't want to call it homework, but invitations in between, and we're going to work on like honing your intuition and stuff. And it's really like very personalized mentorship, and that is an investment, right? But you can also get the book for like $20 online, or the library for free. You can also get card of the day every weekday morning for free. So I do like to have different points of entry for me and my work. Oh, I just got goosey saying that. So yeah, I just felt compelled to say that. All right, let's see. How about Diana Santucci? You're getting a card, Diana. Does Diana Santucci need to know right now? Okay. Now we're getting into it. This is a card that really has evolved over time with me, because the sort of Tarot 101, do you see how he's been like working really hard, and it's just sort of taking stock. And the Tarot 101 is about, just kind of like putting your tools aside for a minute and being like, okay, here's where I was and where I am and where I want to be, and planning your next steps, and just being like really sort of methodical and planning. And that's all great. For me, it goes way deeper. It is telling you to put pen to paper. This is a homework card, okay? I have a few homework cards. No one gets out of a reading with me without getting some homework. And P.S., I also do one-on-one readings still. I don't know if y'all know that, but if you're interested in an hour-long reading with me, just DM me after. Don't put it in here, because I don't see the comments after the live is done. But you can always DM me and we'll figure it out. Anyway, this card is asking you to put pen to paper. Don't type it out, okay? You have to write it out. And you could do a 3-column chart, past, present, future. Or you could write at the top of the page, I'm now ready to receive. And this is, and then it's asking you to then start listing out what you're ready to call in. And it could be about wealth, health, career, love, home, family, one or many areas of life. You could make one list or 20 lists, but make the list. I always use career as an example to explain this card. And this is another thing that I think sets me apart with the way I do readings, because people will often say, someone just said it yesterday in a reading, like, God, it's like therapy, or it's like therapy in a box, or it's like, this sounds like, cognitive behavioral, whatever, blah, blah, therapy. And it kind of is. You're sort of therapizing yourself through the cards. I'm just the mouthpiece. I use career as an example, though. So this is like, I'll use modern day examples that are very accessible to everyone. So using career as an example of this, you're going to make, this whole list of what you're ready to call in. And then you're going to look at it from a practical point of view and ask yourself, well, how am I going to reverse engineer it? What changes am I going to do today to be in this position tomorrow? And it's not just superficial things like, I need to get on LinkedIn. I need shoes for the interview. It's deeper stuff like, what limiting beliefs do I have about money? Or what negative self-talk am I doing around the value I could bring to that company? And it's looking at what kind of bad habits do I have that this future me who is out there knocking it out of the park doesn't have, or what's her morning routine? How is she setting herself up for success every day, this future me? And taking time to really reflect and ponder and consider the shifts that need to happen internally to help you transition from where you are to where you want to be. And then when you're done all of your, introspection and considering, then in order to get witchy with it, because you always want to get witchy with it, you're going to take that list and you're going to fold it up and slide it under your pillow or in your pillowcase and sleep on it. And the next time you do the wash, you're not going to burn it, you're not going to throw it out, you're going to hang on to it. And you might pop it back in to keep cooking, or you might put it in a nightstand drawer, on an altar, bathroom mirror. Just hang on to it. I always tell people, this card is how I got my husband, all right? It's also how I got my divorce. Because the witch who mentored me on tarot a million years ago, Erica, she gave me this exercise. She would have called it a spell, and I've since ascribed it to this card. And I've been telling people to do this for decades because it works. And this card with the manifesting card are kind of the foundation of my manifesting workshop that I used to do. I don't really have time to do it as much anymore. But if you'd be interested in me doing the manifesting workshop, DM me after to say, and if there's enough interest, I'll do it. I just haven't had time to do it regularly. So you're gonna, again, it's like manifesting, but not the dinglings in front of the vision board, wishful thinking. It's putting pen to paper, being intentional, right? Doing the work, taking action, external and internal, and then bringing in a little magic by sleeping on it. And the stuff I have seen, because I always will keep them, I always have something cooking in my pillows. But after, a time when things have happened or shifted or whatever, I'll put them in a nightstand drawer after. And I took out a big chunk of them a while ago and was looking through them and like, oh my God. And like some of the stuff I was ready to call in was so like fit. Oh, my little thing just went out. All right. Well, that's kind of witchy. Was so like 10 years ago. Like it was just so not even on my radar anymore because it was, I've moved so far beyond it. There, I put on my backup light. So just keeping that kind of thing in mind, with this, it's really powerful. That was weird how my light just went out. All right. Oh, cognitive behavioral therapy. Thank you. It's so funny. I've done enough therapy. Like I should know what it's called. And I know a lot of therapists as friends. Okay, let's see. Kemily, K-E-M-I-L, and then a lot of I's. Let's pull a card for you. Okay. I don't know why I always close my eyes when I pull a card. I just really need to know right now. All right, you're getting 2. Okay. So first up, we already got this card, the Queen of Swords, okay? So it's like you want to step into her strengths and mitigate her more challenging aspects. She can be super rigid and clenchy, but she can also be strong and powerful. And honestly, the difference between like how to get from one to the other is usually through like, am I tired? Am I hungry? Do I need to pee? Like if I had a nap, like it's, staying well-resourced, yeah? You want to step into her strengths and like get shit done without being like rigid or clenchy about stuff, okay? And you've got to think about that because that is needed for you, because I pulled another card, because what about her? And then we've got the 3 of Coins. And the 3 of Coins is this guy. Now here's an example of how the story is told through the imagery, right? And that's why if you have a bunch, like 3 cats juggling 3 quarters, like it's not going to necessarily give you the message. So that's why I like something like this is the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. That's sort of the OG tarot deck. It just, the story is so beautifully told in Pamela Coleman Smith's imagery. He is building them a castle and they've come to inspect it and go, yeah, it looks good, keep going. And so Tarot 101 is like, it's time for you to step it up a notch. It's time for you to take things to the next level. Now, look how he's on this rickety bench. Right? Is saying you may feel that base beneath you, that foundation is a bit wobbly or unsteady. And this card is saying, it's not a Jenga, it's cement encased in steel wrapped in titanium. Like it can bear the weight of you going to step it up a notch. So it's all about leveling up. And even though this is a money card, here's another little tarot tip. I always tell people this can be about money, but it could be about any area of life. One or many areas of life. This card is saying, stop playing small. Stop being complacent. Don't settle for the basement suite. You can have a big ass high rise. That foundation is strong enough to support you taking it to the next level. So make sure you're doing that. And do you see how we need that Queen of Swords energy to make those big, bold moves? And also we'll just watch we're not too rigid or clenchy, because then we're going to be like, oh, it's too wobbly, and you're not going to do it. So do you see how it's nuanced, right? Yeah. All right, let's see. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going down a bit. Okay, how about... let me see. I'm just scrolling. I feel like I've seen some of these. Oh, it's so funny. All of us little therapy people are like, it's CBT. That's what you're trying to say. Yes, it was. Okay. Misy 5, MISY 5. You're getting a card pulled. Okay. Let's see. Does my Z5 need to know right now? All right, babe. You got one of my least and most favorite cards wrapped into one. The Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords, here's the thing, Tarot 101 for this one, to just sort of show you again how the interpretation of a card can evolve over time, is like they're being at war, they're giving up. You know, he's like, hey, let's fight, come on. And this guy, it's hard to see because it's such a, the card is so worn because it's so old. He's dropping his sword. He's like, screw you, forget it. And he's just kind of giving up. This card for me, here's the interpretation, is telling you something you've been banging your head against a wall about, or it's just like, I want it, it has to happen, it has to happen. This card is saying it's not happening. Or it's not happening the way you think it's going to happen because there's so much clenching going on. It is like when a little kid brings a bird to his mom and is like, Mom, look at the bird, I love the bird, and the bird's head pops off. That's what's happening energetically. I'm going to make this work if it's the last goddamn thing I do. And the Five of Swords is saying you need to go from this to just, okay, you know what? If it works, it works. I can't force this. And you have to take the hit to your pride and your ego that comes with saying, I couldn't do it, I didn't get it, I failed. And that sucks, especially if you're someone who normally would say, just give it to me so it gets done. Because the Five of Swords is saying, not this time, cutie. Nice try. So that's the gross part of the card, right? But the gorgeous part of this card is if you can go from like, to just, you know what, que sera, sera, if it works, it works. Then you'll find you go from this clunk, clunk, clunk to, oh, hello, and whoosh like a rocket. And you'll see all the stuff you're clenching and clinging to so dearly is keeping you from seeing something so much better or getting the thing you wanted all along, faster, cheaper, easier, less painful, all this stuff. I always use, and here's an example again of how I try to make it applicable to modern day life, right? I always use real estate as an example for this card. Imagine you're looking for your dream home and you're like, get in a bidding war and someone else gets your house. You're like, screw this, I'm renting, and you go off in a snit. And then a year later, the market suddenly softens. Now you can afford something would have been way out of your price range before. And you think, well, thank God I didn't get that piece of crap because look at this palace I'm in now. Do you see how it's the best and worst, this card? This Five of Swords is not about giving up. It is about surrendering the need to control the outcome. Because we don't really have control, that's just anxiety. You know, and just think of it, think of life like you're baking a cake. You have all the ingredients, the oven's at the right temperature, you know, there's some instructions, and there's that moment of like, okay, fingers crossed, like it's out of my hands. I've done my part. And to get to that place sooner rather than later. Got it? That's a kick in the ass, that one. I always hate seeing it, but then I always really need it, and it always makes things better when I give it some thought. These cards are like conversation starters with yourself, you know? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do, I'm going to do self-actualized style, and then I'm going to pull a card for the collective. Okay. So that even if you didn't get one pulled just for you specifically tonight, you'll get a message. Courtesy of me. Okay. So what's self-actualized style? I need to know right now. Ooh. I don't know if you're going to be like, oh, great. The Hermit, the message behind the Hermit, he's the Zen Buddha dude on the mountaintop off figuring out life. And when this card shows up, it's telling you the answers you're looking for, the guidance you're seeking is in you, you know, and you have to give yourself the time and space to access the parts of you that have the answers to the questions, which is difficult when we're up here. Feed the dog, get the thing, do this, blah, 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 blah. So the Hermit is saying, put down that phone, step away from all the busyness, disengage, unplug, go within. Get to the space like when you're driving and you get to your destination and think, I don't remember driving. How the hell did I get here? But you sort of solve the world's problems while you're driving. That's the zone you want to get in with this card, but not driving because that's not safe. So is it yoga, meditating, fishing, gardening? Go for a walk. I went for a gorgeous like hour-and-a-half walk today. My God, the sun was out. You would have thought it was the 4th of July, and I was ready to like strip off naked. I was so excited to just not be in sub-zero temps, but it just infused me with like so much clarity and got me all revved up. So yeah, that's what the Hermit's asking for you. Got it? Okay. So let's now, hold on, what's going on with this? Why is it so, whatever. Okay, let's do it. And as I was saying before, thanks for joining today. This was so fun. Like I said, any reviews you want to do, tell your friends, sign up for the tarot intensive or reading, watch card of the day. Oh, tarot scopes. Do you know I do tarot scopes on YouTube? Every month I pull a card for every astrological sign. So whether it's your sun, moon, rising, there's a little message for each in the caption. You just have to go to YouTube. I'm at Lori Dyan, D-Y-A-N. But I think if you Google Tarot Lori YouTube, it'll come up as well. Ooh, okay, well that card just fucking flew out. But let's see what I choose for the group and see if there's an align, if they're joined. But that was a jumper that I feel like was our message. Yeah, but anyway, tarot scopes, and I do an energy reading as well. Okay, what does this group of beautiful souls need to know in this moment? Yeah, so listen, it's funny because the card that I pulled is the card that was, I think this was the card of the day on Friday, like yesterday. Was yesterday Friday? Oh my God. I have no sense of days and times because of my work. I work with so many time zones that it's like, what is time, you know? I think this was yesterday's card of the day, the Wheel of Fortune, only the luckiest card in the whole dang deck. And the Wheel of Fortune, again, it's not just handing over the luck, it's offering a lesson to help you harness this luck. And the lesson of the Wheel of Fortune is that we're born at A and we die at B, and a lot of people go A to B, straight line, blinders on, head down like a little passenger on a bus. And the Wheel of Fortune is saying if you can be open to what's out there, you can have a very different path. This isn't the one that jumped out, by the way. This is the one that jumped out. I'll tell you what that one is in a second. But I think this one, it's like the cards are like, bitch, we gave you the message for them yesterday. Here's the message for today. So I'm just going to repeat this message because it is what came up. I talk about my cards like Moira Rose talks about her wigs. They're always sassing me. But the Wheel of Fortune, it's, you know, again, like the Magician, it's about manifesting. It's saying get clear on what your intentions are, your goals, your objectives in whatever area of life, and do the vision board or journal or whatever, but follow up that clarity of intention with the inspired action, just little baby steps to get things going, and then forget the path. Don't worry about when or how, focus on what and why. Don't try and plan and plot and visualize and execute all the steps because it just suppresses the magic. Instead, you want to say, God, universe, Buddha, grandma, all the things. Here's what I want. Here's what I'm doing to get it. How will you help? What have you got for me? And be open to seeing stepping stones, synchronicities, clues that get you there or somewhere better. And if you can be open to that perspective of intention, inspired action, and then step back and let life unfold, that's how you get this Wheel of Fortune going. And when this card shows up, it's saying if you can do that manifesting, then instead of going A to B like this, now you're going A to B like this, or you're going A to B like this, but you're no longer the little passenger on the bus. Now you're driving the bus. And the Wheel of Fortune, when it shows up, is saying, guys, you're on the bus. You're going to be a passenger or you're going to be a driver. And do you see how understanding, first of all, you're on the bus and you can be a passenger or driver. And the way to transition from one to the other is through that manifesting. That's how you step into the luck of this card. So that's your message reiterated from yesterday, because the cards are like, just give them the message they need to hear, which this is the message for tonight for sure. And we've already heard it tonight once, but it bears repeating. The Strength card, which is the strongest card of the entire deck. Infinite strength. Telling you you can go to that well of strength as often as you need to. It is limitless for you and it has been called upon and you have it in spades, so don't sweat it or forget it. You know, where other people would be saying, I don't want to and I can't and it's hard and then you're like, well, we got to do this, so come on, let's do it. And sometimes we need a reminder that we have that strength. So there's that reminder on a silver platter and I love it. Yeah, that's a good one. I like it. All right. That is the tarot party for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. What a damn party. So many people hopping in and out. This is really cool. Especially a Saturday night and Valentine's Day. Amazing. You are my people. So again, if you want information about Tarot Intensive, which is really, it's about more than tarot. It's like intuition, really honing it, you know, but using tarot as a tool to access your intuition, DM me and I'll give you information about it. And you know what? I had an early sign up pricing that ended like way back. There are 12 spots and half of them are gone. Anyone who's on this, if you want to do the tarot intensive, I'll honor the early bird rate. So DM me, tell me you're on it, and I'll send you information. And then, big deck energy, burn your shit. I'm doing all the things. And check out YouTube for the tarot scopes and the energy reading for February. It's kind of cool. I put the cards in the spread that I use for tarot, like the 12 astrology signs, and show the themes of the month. It's wild. It really is cool. Anyway, you could check that out too. Have a great night. I'm gonna go, and I don't know what. I don't know. We'll see. I might just have a bath. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you on Monday. Okay, bye-bye.